You know, when the New York Yankees started the 1978 season, they were defending World Series champions. They were helped by a great pitching staff, which included the best pitcher in baseball, Ron Guidry, and the best reliever in baseball, Goose Gossage, who he picked up in the offseason. But as it panned out, it was the Red Sox that dominated most of the season, and the miracle comeback by Boston to make a one-game playoff, of which they won, will go down as probably the greatest of all time. Now, this was the 76th season for the Yankees in 78. They finished with a record of 163, with one game ahead of the Red Sox to win their third AL East title. Of course, they advanced to play Kansas City, defeating them yet again, and also knocked off the Dodgers in 6 games in a World Series after trailing 2-0. Now, in this one, Boston and New York were tied after winning 162 games, leading to a one-game playoff, which the Yankees won in Fenway. New York played its home games at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, and this season they were managed by Billy Martin, Dick Howser, and Bob Lemon. Now, in the best-of-5 ALCS, they defeated the Royals in 4 games, and of course, in the rematch in 78, defeated the LA Dodgers in 6. Now, it was a tumultuous season for the Yankees, as Jackson was suspended in a mid-season showdown with Billy Martin, which resulted in Martin resigning a week later. Now, for TV viewers of the Bronx Bombers, it was the first campaign to be broadcast nationwide via satellite by WPIX, which is on the Bell Network still in 2024. It was the first season to be broadcast again nationwide because it got superstation status, as well partly in response to Ted Turner's WTCG TV nationwide broadcast of the Braves beginning on opening day of 77. WPIX remained the team's exclusive broadcast partner for the greater New York television viewers on FDA television, and then by now superstation status and satellite broadcasters finally enabled millions all over the country to watch Yankees home and away games live as they happened. Of course, it's changed over the years, but again, still very strong tradition. Now, Martin started the season 52-42. Dick Howser took over one game until Bob Lemon brought them to glory with a 48-20 record in the last 68 games of the campaign. Now, Guidry, again, he was the first Yankee pitcher to win at least 25 games in a season in the 20th century. In 35 starts in the regular campaign, including the playoffs, he pitched 273 and two-thirds innings, 25-3 record with 248 strikeouts, a 174 ERA, and 9 blanks. Guidry won the Cy Young Award by unanimous vote. Now, when Gossage was signed by the Yankees on November 22nd, 77, we knew he was going to do something, and of course, he was a Rolaids Relief Man of the Year award winner, leading the AL with 27 saves. Now, a week after the All-Star game in July, the squad was 14 games behind Boston, but rallied to tie for first place. With a week to go, New York led by 1 game and won 6 straight, but lost the finale at home to struggling Cleveland on Sunday, October 1st, while Boston won their final 8. The Yankees then traveled to Fenway Park and defeated the Red Sox 5-4 and won a one-game playoff for AL East title. The Monday afternoon game featured light-hitting shortstop Bucky Dent, or as we say in Massachusetts, Bucky fucking Dent, who hit a famous 3-run go-ahead home run in the 7th. Jackson's solo homer in the 8th was the winning margin. So Mr. October strikes again. Now, for decades, some has mistakenly thought the Yankees trailed by 14.5 games, but the maximum deficit was 14 after the July 17 loss until the July 28 win. New York's biggest lead was 3.5 games after another victory over Boston on Saturday, December 16th, which kind of shows it there. Now, the previous weekend, the Yankees swept a 4-game series at Fenway, dubbed the Boston Massacre by the sports press, and left the squads tied at 86-56 with 3 weeks remaining. Now, the 78-game log, quite interesting. Between August and September, the Yankees won 41 games while losing 16. They were 10-9 in April, 19-8 in May, 14-15 in June, 15-14 in July, and of course 1-1 in October. Now, the AL East tiebreaker, Yankees scored 4 runs in the 7th, with Jackson getting the big belt to win it all. Now, season standings, again, the Brewers were only 93-69, Orioles 90-71, Tigers 86-76. So the top 5 teams were within 13.5 games of each other, while the Blue Jays and Cleveland were trailing the pack. Now, New York had a very good campaign. 9-6 against Baltimore, 9-7 against Boston, 5-5 against California, 9-1 against Chicago White Sox, 9-6 against Cleveland, 11-4 against Detroit, 5-6 against Kansas City, but 5-10 against Milwaukee, 7-3 against Minnesota, 8-2 against Oakland, 6-5 against Seattle, 6-4 against Texas, and a big 11-4 against Toronto. So the two expansion teams, they won 17 games that year, or second-year expansion. Now, the big deals, of course, Ken Olsen was traded by the Yankees to the Cubs for a player to be named later on June 10th. Ron Davis came all the way back. Now, Raleigh Eastwick left town for the Phillies on June 14th for Bobby Brown and Jay Johnstone. And on June 15th, Mickey Klutz, Dell Olson, and $50,000 was traded by the Yankees to the Athletics for Gary Thompson. Now, in the Major League Baseball draft, they took Rex Sudler, and of course, Steve Balboni was selected by the Yankees in the second round. Now, what was interesting here, ladies and gentlemen, they got off to a slow start in '78, prompting owner George Steinbrenner to put pressure on manager Billy Martin. Compounding the issue was an already tumultuous relationship between Martin and Reggie Jackson, and Steinbrenner was pressuring him as well. On July 17th, with a team at 47-42 and in fourth, he came to head to a home contest with the Royals. With the score tied in the bottom of the 10th and Terman Munson on first, Martin sent Jackson to the plate with orders to lay down a bunt. Jackson tried to bunt the first pitch but failed. Martin then relayed to third baseman Dick Hauser for Jackson to swing, and Hauser passed it on. But Jackson ignored Hauser and attempted another bunt. Hauser called time and talked with Jackson, but to no avail. On his final bunt attempt, he fouled out to the catcher. Martin then removed Jackson from the game, suspended him. Now, Steinbrenner limited to 5 days, Tuesday through Saturday, but Kansas City won 11 innings and swept a 3-game series. Tuesday was an open day. The Yankees traveled to Minnesota and Jackson won to California. When he returned to the team on Sunday, July 23rd, he did not take batting practice and remained the bench as the Yankees swept the White Sox for the 5th straight win. Martin commented in a post-game interview at the Chicago airport that, referring to Jackson and Steinbrenner respectively, in the classic line, one's a born liar and the other's convicted. The Steinbrenner reference was alluding to a past incident when the Yankee owner made illegal U.S. presidential campaign contributions. The next day in Kansas City, Martin appeared on live TV and tearfully announced his resignation as Yankees manager, but most sources believe he was actually fired by Steinbrenner for the convicted comment. Now, Hauser was the acting manager for one game, a 5-2 loss to Kansas City. Then Bob Lemon, the easy choice, arrived as manager for the rest of the season. Now, his first appearance since the bunting incident 10 years earlier, he started in the right field on July 27 and went 3 for 4 with a homer, walk, and 3 RBIs. In the nightcap, he had 2 hits. Now, during the Old Timers game, ceremony at Yankee Stadium on Saturday, July 29th, Yankee public address announcer Bob Shepard introduced Martin to the crowd and announced that he would return as manager for the 1980 season. Martin then returned ahead of schedule in June '79, but it was fired again 4 months later after a fight in a Minnesota bar hotel. He went west to Oakland in 1980, then owned by Charlie O'Finley. He did return to Yankees and managed the team in 83, 85, and 88. Under Lemon in 78, the Yankees won 47-20, and again won the division, a one-game playoff on the road. Now, Ed Figueroa also won 20 games that year, the victory that clinched the tie for AL East title. As of 2008, Figueroa is the only native of Puerto Rico to win 20 games in a season. And of course, Terman Munson, a very strong campaign, 6 homers, 71 RBI. Chrissy Chambliss, 12-90. Willie Randolph, 3 homers, 42 RBIs. Craig Nettles, 27 homers, tying Jackson for the team lead with 93 RBIs. Bucky Dent, 5 homers, 40 RBIs. Piniella led at the plate with 6 homers and 69 RBIs on 314. Baker Rivers at an overachieving season, 11 homers and 48 RBIs. Reggie Jackson, 27-97, and Cliff Johnson, the future Blue Jay, batted only 184, but with 6 homers and 19 RBIs. Roy White did well, 8 homers and 43 RBIs, but the bench was quite strong. Some were future Blue Jays, of course. Freddie Stanley, Jim Spencer, Paul Blair, Gary Thomason, Mike Heath, Jay Johnstone, Brian Doyle, DeMossa Garcia, George Zeber, Del Olson, Mickey Klutz, Darren Sherrill, Fran Healy, of course Jackson's good friend, and Domingo Ramos. Now, in the pitching categories, Guidry won 25-3, while Figueroa won 20-9. Dick Tidrow won 7-11, Jim Beattie 6-9, Catfish Auditor in limited play, 12-6, 21 contests. Don Gellett went 4-2, and Andy Messerschmidt 0-3. And the other pitchers, Ken Clay went 3-1, while Holtzman went 1-0 in only 5 contests. Now, in the bullpen, Sparky Lyle, who was again the MVP the year before, went 9-3 with 9 saves. Goose went 10-11 with 27 saves. And Raleigh Eastwood, Bob Kabenmeyer, and Ron Davis took up the rest. Now, again, just to recap, Game 1 of the ALCS, 7-1 New York. Game 2, they lost 10-4. Game 3, they won 6-5 with 2 runs in the bottom of the 8th. In Game 4, back at Yankee Stadium, scored a winning run in the 6th inning with Guidry taking the victory. Now, the World Series, 11-5 Dodgers Game 1, 4-3 Dodgers Game 2. Of course, the Bob Welch game, striking out Reggie. Yankees won 5-1 against the Dodgers back at Yankee Stadium, 4-3 and 12-2. And last contest, 7-2, where Jackson hit a big home run late against Welch to secure it. So the last 2 games, he outscored the Dodgers 19-4. Ladies and gentlemen, what a World Series 2, averaging almost 56,000 fans for each game, and all 6 games ended in less than 3 hours 20 minutes. So quite a good campaign. Gold Glove Awards: Chambliss and Craig Nettles. Bucky Dent won the Babe Ruth Award. Bucky Dent was World Series MVP. Goose Gossage was the Rolaids Relief Man of the Year, and Guidry won AL Cy Young. Franchise records: Guidry broke the record for most strikeouts this season with 248. At the All-Star game, it was Gossage, Jackson, Munson, and Nettles. Other team leaders were Randolph with 82 walks and 36 stolen bases. Now, the minor leagues were very strong. Stump Merrill was leading the West Haven Yankees at Double-A. Mike Ferraro with the Triple-A Tacoma Yankees. Fort Lauderdale Yankees, and of course, my step-grandmother-in-law in Oneonta. That's where they used to have their short season in New York Penn League. So, and again, Tacoma won their championship, co-championship that year. So, ladies and gentlemen, what a great season if you're a Yankee fan. And the idea, only a handful of games over 500. They were the best team of all in baseball, and they pulled it out at the end. So, the Reggie Jackson Yankees of '78. It wasn't the Billy Martin Yankees; it was the Jackson Yankees of '78, and he literally was the straw that stirred the drink, striking out against Welsh and then getting the big home run, and the big homers left and right. They wouldn't hit that home run against Boston late. It's not Bucky Dent. It's he won it for them. Jackson was the guy. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're doing with our Vintage New York Yankee podcast, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share.